Good afternoon. It's Wednesday the 31st of March. I'm back out here in the reading nook with another parcel to unbox. It is a bright, warm and sunny afternoon and I have a cup of tea. I'm going to find out what's in this parcel and because of the way it is wrapped and even stapled, I think I'm going to need possibly a pair of scissors rather than a knife, so bear with me and let's see whether I can get into this because it is very sturdily packaged. So I'm just going to get the knife through the sellotape and try not to cut anything important like me. As my partner said to me this morning, do be careful with the knife. I think it's mainly a case of wanting to make sure she's not washing blood out of my clothes. So here we go, almost there. That's the sellotape cut. Now for the staples. Yeah, very safely packaged, and what we've got in here is HârnWorld 2nd edition by N.R. Crosby, described as a real fantasy world, published by Columbia Games, and again, pick this up on eBay for a reasonable price. And just to show you the back, what we've got. HârnWorld is a realistic medieval environment for fantasy gaming. Use any rule system, you can now create and plan your own quests and adventures within a complex and detailed fantasy background. And I'm a big fan of complex and detailed fantasy backgrounds. Couldn't else not be, given how much I like Tekamau, Empire of the Battle Throne, and also Legend of Five Rings, and more recently Symbaroum. So I've always wanted to have a look at HârnWorld, and this was very likely to be my introduction to it, beyond reviewing what would have been the quick start for it for Free RPG Day at least 3 or 4 years ago. So HârnWorld is supported by an outstanding series of expansion modules. Quality, detail and consistency are evident on every page. Nothing else published is better, which is quite a claim. Come to Harn where the fantasy is real. So HârnWorld includes Kythera, the name given to Harn's planet. It's a water planet with 3 continents and 2 large polar caps. A small full-colour map of the planet is provided, plus maps of ocean currents, prevailing winds, tectonics, etc. Now that's quite detailed. Map of Lithia, which is Kythera's largest continent, immense land of diverse cultures and peoples, included as a full-colour map of the continent showing the major rivers, mountain ranges, cities, regions, kingdoms, trade routes, etc. Also included is an annotated index describing all of the above, plus political, economic and language maps. That again is detailed. Harn is a rugged, forested, hazy island off the northwest coast of Lithia. Harn is regarded with disdain by most Lithians. Tales of wild men, dwarves, elves and fearsome beasts have been carried to the continent, and these have served to discourage all but the most adventurous of travellers. Included is a beautiful full-colour map of Harn and an overview and detailed index of the cultures, economics, geography, history, politics and religions of the island. So let's have a look inside. Knife out. Basically slice my way through plastic. And what you've got is a folio of items. So you open up like that, and you've got even more. So let's just have a look what we've got in here. So this is the thing that people will remember from back in the day. A little bit of feedback forms, encouraging purchasers to get in contact with the publisher. And these really primarily would appear in box sets, or they'd be little inserts within books, because back in the day it was really the only way that publishers had as a means of getting in contact with their purchasers. So, you know, you purchase a game, fill this in, and give feedback and comments to the publisher of the game you just purchased. So yeah, you will find boxes if you find boxes from Curzon's RuneQuest, for example. You will find something similar tucked away in that box. From the left on the side, we've got the master index for Hârn. Again, written by N. Robin Crosby, Tom Dalglish, and Edward King. And we're going to essentially, this is it's an alphabetical general reference sourcebook for game masters using HârnWorld. Includes the following: geographical entries, cultural political entries, economic guild entries, and religious entries, and there's an pronunciation at the bottom. So there we go. First page. You know, we have essentially location, Aladem Keep there. Then we go on to the Adanum, basically a racial grouping, and so on. So, you know, from AA to AG, AL, you know, you just go through each one, and then some, for example, like the city here, you've got a bit of a tiny little map there, or a basic illustration of the location. And I'd like to thank my neighbours for providing background music for this. Very nice of them. All the way through. But again, the thing is, so this is basically a master in it, and that's fine. But it's not quite as easy. I would say the most obvious starting point for the setting. You know, this is Hârn. What it is. How do I access it? This presents an awful lot of information to the prospective GM, but it's not immediately playable. It's interesting, but essentially the GM would have to sort of like provide some kind of context. Let me see below that. So we've had a look at that. We have. This is a map of Hârn and environments. Here we go. Big poster map. So I hope you can see that. And then below that we have essentially HârnWorld, a real fantasy world, and this is where I think we're going to get into essentially the introduction, basically describing, you know, we've got the introduction, then we go on to the Encyclopedia Hârnica, and it's covering basically, you've got the introduction that I kind of want, and so on. This is 1990. I've just looked at some whimsy cards from 1990. So this again, this is 30 years old. It's you very quickly. It's explaining what Hârn is, and here's this. So here's the cultural map of Hârn in the year 720. Description of kingdoms of Hârn, the feudalism, the governments, and how they're made up. Manorialism, you know, basically, it's a very typical medieval world, but very historically based. Prices and incomes. Then you've got sort of like an economic map of where all the various resources are. trade, and so on, religion, basically the Cytherean family, the gods there, description there, everything you need to know. Again, detailed star charts. Basically a map of the natural vegetation of Cythera. Show that a bit closer. Similarly, we have prevailing winds and major ocean currents, tectonics and volcanism. Again, it's just the level of detail which goes into this. And here's a just map of the cultures. We've got a map of basically the economics as well, and we've got an index for Lithia, which is the larger continent. And again, we have, let's have a look. There's a map of Lithia itself. So yeah, there's a lot of information here. You can vaguely see, if you have a look at this map, that it's vaguely modelled on Europe, Africa, Asia. So if we have sort of like Europe up here, then you've got Africa down here, Asia, and then sort of vaguely just about there. I would suggest that's probably the Japan equivalent. The setting is there. I don't know, I've not looked at it, but again, that's just what I am, the impression that I am getting. So there's a huge world to delve into here if that's what you're looking for. And we have maps of the language. You just see how much work has been gone into creating this setting. There are, I believe the game would probably gone to 3rd edition, and you could essentially buy supplements and then basically work them into a folio. Obviously, because they each came onto basically file holes, so you can basically put them into a folder and so on. So that's HârnWorld, designed as a generic setting at this level. It does have its own role-playing game, because I've had a look at least at the basic introduction in the free RPG day scenario. At some point I will get to having a look at this, because I'm interested in basically in history of role-playing and older books that people kind of tend to forget. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed watching me do another unboxing in the Nook, then please do click the like button. Any comments or feedback, then I welcome those, and do take the time to read them and respond. And if you want to be notified of yet more unboxings in the Nook, then please do click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.